In celebration of Police Week, the Three Blind Mice are hosting a Gaslands Cop Car Invitational with guest host Diecast Sheriff. I had this Matchbox 93 Ford Mustang LX SSP mint in the blister pack still. So I thought I'd go with this one for the build. Just seemed like an easy choice. You know, it's not the best looking cop car. Doesn't have a lot of detail on it either. There are things there they could have picked out, but they sure didn't. But I'll be doing that. Even though it's a Gaslands build, I'll pick out some of those details and then I'll make them look rough. I end up keeping those wheels. It's plastic base, plastic interior, plastic glass, no big surprise, metal body. The interior on that rear package tray did have a lot of nice police car details back there, the lights and stuff. So I will pick those out as well. But otherwise, even the light bar, they didn't even bother adding color to that, having it just be a solid, clear bar across the top. So they didn't put a lot of effort into it. So after I got it apart, there you see I had hit it with steel wool. Once it was apart when I hit it with this steel wool. There I put it back together just to kind of show you what it looked like. And then I thought, man, this thing needs a hood scoop. And I had kind of a roughish hood scoop that I wanted to put on there. I'm thinking of this as an urban post-apocalyptic vehicle. I don't see this thing out in the desert or anything like that. I see this as an urban environment, or even in Gaslands the game, running around a track. So I used there you see I have the wood strips. That was a stir stick, and I end up using the stir sticks basically to give me the elevation I need when I glue these things on, to get them the right clearance. I didn't want that front grill all the way to the ground. And so I used that for both the front and when I attached the add-on to the rear bumper as well. And I found that's a nice way to do it. I figure out the height I want. And I've done it with wood strips before. I've used it with the same approach with plastic strips. And so you should be able to get just the right height that you want. And then if you're just gluing it to an existing bumper, as I'm doing in this case, there you see I just hit it with a little CA glue at the ends. And then I just set that down on the wood and then back the car up and let it touch the glue. And that pretty much does it. I do end up filling in the gaps with CA glue as well, because the curvature of the original back bumper and then these extensions that went on aren't exactly the same. I didn't want to file them to shape or sand them to shape. So I just, again, filled that in with CA glue. It works wonderfully for that. And there you see how I'm filling in like one of the gaps here. And then you just paint that later and you don't even see it. I'm getting rid of the glass on this, but that strip of glass included the front headlights. So naturally, I just needed to cut those off from the rest of it. Fortunately, the way they were made, they hold on there really well, even without the rest of the glass. It wasn't like they were wobbly or anything like that. Now, like I mentioned before, they didn't even add any color to the light bar. And that would just look stupid. for lack of a less blunt way to put it. So good old Tamiya clear blue and good old Tamiya clear red come to the rescue. I masked off the center. And then the fun part. I wanted to use mesh to cover not only the windows, but also the wheels. I haven't done this on one before, and I thought I want to give it that kind of look. Again, I'm seeing this in an urban environment. I didn't want to go crazy with armor on this, but it was temperamental, this plastic. And so I had seen on other channels, crafting channels, and on Ben's channel, BP Custom Creations, I believe is it. If you use a hair dryer, if you have a plastic that doesn't seem to be working, there's something about heating it up that may cause it to work. I don't know if it scrambles the atoms. I don't know. But I'll be darned if it didn't work. You know, between the sanding and then heating it up, the grid was absolutely no problem. The mesh was then absolutely no problem to get the glue on, where it would not take CA glue prior to that. There you see I've added a gun to the hood, and I mentioned how I had filled in between the bumpers and the added bumpers. What I end up doing for those resin printed pieces, I'm using the Citadel contrast paint. Black Templar, I believe, is the color. And it's black, but it's not obnoxiously black. It looks very realistic. It's like a really heavy Nuln Oil in a way, or a slightly thinned black. And so that worked really well. I also went over the wheels with that as well because I'm keeping the wheels. And at this point, I just wanted to give it the caution tape kind of look to both the front and back bumpers. So I'm sponging that paint on. And I didn't want really crisp lines. I wanted rough looking lines. So it was roughly masked and roughly sponged to get the rough lines. So I didn't go too extreme on this build. There you see I painted in some of the detail on that package tray in the back. I kept this a fairly straightforward build. There are details that I added off camera, like the lights on that front bar. I did, color those in silver. The gun, it's funny on the gun itself. While I had painted that with lead belcher and went over it with Nuln Oil, I went over the body itself with Nuln Oil as well. Even when I thought I was finished, after you see me put this together, I added a few more color details to that gun just to make it pop a little bit more. And the steel wool work that I did on the car, I went heavier on the front and sides than I did on, say, the roof and the back deck. Because that's how I just saw what I thought the weathering would be like. The wear, more than anything, would be from going through things head on and scraping up against them on the side, rather than anything landing on like the back of the trunk. So there's some light wear, but not a lot. So here's where we started out. In just a minute, you'll see the finished build. But I'd like to remind you to be sure and check out the Three Blind Mice channel for a recap of all the builds involved in this Police Week event. And thanks to Diecast Sheriff for guest hosting this one. And check out all the other mice and all the other builders in this event. There you can see I did add the additional detail on the gun, like the red stuff. And yeah, I had fun. It's like the silver areas next to the light bar. The taillights and everything I added in is earlier. But you can see the lights through the mesh in the back there too on that package tray in the back of the car. So there you have it. This was, because of things going on, I was in a little bit of a rush to do this one. But I'm happy with how it turned out. That mesh, after I put it on, I did go over that with Nuln Oil as well, in case you're curious. And the entire thing was coated with good old Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel, because I didn't think it should be shiny. There you have it. So hope you like it. And everybody, stay safe and healthy out there. And coming up here in a few days, we also have Redline Day. So there will be another build showing up for that. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.